Well, joining us tonight is Tom Fitton, the president of Judicial Watch. And Tom, great to have you with us. And you're in pretty fancy company there tonight. You're at the White House. It's a good look for you. You might ought to maintain that.
Tom,
it's great
I'm
to have
actually
you
in
with
a
us.
studio right. I'm in a studio right now.
Well, that's excellent. But you got me fooled. I was told you would be at the White House. The idea that we have John Durham, you were being just a little, what would I say, accommodating with the Durham investigation, and it looks pretty clear that there is nothing there. The American people are wasting money, tax money. Well, actually, it's the Justice Department wasting tax money, but our money is being wasted by the Attorney General. This is very disappointing, isn't it?
It is, but it's kind of consistent with the way this Justice Department is operated. Put out a Mr. Huber. Remember Mr. Huber? To distract from the
John,
fact.
as I recall, his name was.
That's right. Keep us all distracted that something happened with Huber. Then Mr. Durham comes along, gives the deep state breathing room to mount another challenge against the president. What I think is most scandalous about the state we're in is, there's going to be political opposition to the president. But presumably if they commit crimes, they should be investigated and prosecuted appropriately. And that never happened. And Durham, if this leak is true, it certainly confirms the way Durham's been operating. They never investigated Obama directly. They never questioned Biden directly. Mr. Barr made it clear earlier this year that they were not going to be directing anything at them. Now we know the FBI and Justice Department have been covering up for Joe Biden. And, what is the reason for that cover-up? To make it easier for him to defeat President Trump. I mean, that's the simple conclusion. I don't know that for a fact, but it sure seems that way to anyone with a brain, it would seem to me.
Well, it's interesting. The left is making terrible fun of Trump supporters and voters. It's become a commonplace occurrence, and they're talking down to their own supporters. And this president is become the greatest advocate in memory of the working man and woman in this country, our middle class, all who aspire to it. He's changed the direction of the Republican Party, and yet we seem to have a bunch of elites sitting at the State Department, over at the Justice Department, who don't get the fact that this president is changing the direction of history here. He truly is having an extraordinary impact on the American destiny. We're fulfilling that destiny, the American dream. No president has embraced it nor attempted to preserve it and nurture it like this president.
However things turn out today, it's pretty clear that because of President Trump's leadership and advocacy against corruption and calling out these institutions, we now know better than we've ever known before how just corrupt those government agencies are, the deep state agencies, how corrupt the media is, and how corrupt big tech is. And we've seen all of these institutions really break in the face of President Trump's calling them out on the corruption. And we'll see if they're able to succeed in removing him. I suspect they won't be able to. I think there will be a last gasp effort to try to subvert the election results through either continuing to count and contrary to federal law, or pushing it politically into other areas like Congress, where they get Congress to decide. But if I were the president, by the way, Lou, and I saw that I was winning and had won, I'd push for the states to stop counting any ballots that arrive after Election Day. That way lies fraud. In my view, it's contrary to federal law that says Election Day is one day, not a week, not a month, and it's today. And that's going to be the big fight. And we know they're desperate enough. Why they're desperate to stop it from happening? Because they face prosecution if President Trump gets his way.
But the Supreme Court, at least in one case, has already spoken. accepting that premise that there could be an extended period of time in Pennsylvania, for example, because, well, the government, the state government and its institutions decided that they wanted that. And that is not the law at all. And what I don't understand is what has happened to originalism on this court, to which President Trump has now appointed 3 justices, because originalism requires that you follow the text and the meaning of the founders. And it's in plain English. That is a constitutional requirement that has just been rebuffed by the U.S. Supreme Court in that one decision. They have, and will likely have, I should say, the opportunity to fix that in the coming days, but it's urgently needed. Your thoughts on that as we wrap up here, Tom?
Well, I think that ought to be the point, that they need to address the issue that the federal statute in 3 different places says Election Day is today, practically speaking. And counting ballots that arrive after Election Day is contrary to federal law. I mean, should we count ballots through December 5th, through December 6th, through next year? By that logic, there's no deadlines at all. And I think there are members of the court who are ready to rule to restrict this gamesmanship and shell game that they're planning with by counting ballots that arrive after the election, with or without postmarks.
The Democrats are playing the high court, and anyone who buys that specious reasoning in Pennsylvania for abject fools. Tom Fitton, it's great to have you here, and we hope that you have an enjoyable evening. Thanks so much.